New York Post wrote an article about us, AJ. Don't know if you know this.
What'd they say?
Well, the headline is, Pat McAfee pays Aaron Rodgers millions of dollars for his appearance.
Appearing on his show, Pat McAfee went after this man.
Pat McAfee paying Aaron Rodgers more than $1 million a year makes some sense.
Journalist Andrew Marchand, who broke the story. McAfee continued the onslaught.
Andrew Marchand is a rat, okay? That is what he is. He tried to paint this in a way that makes me look like a bad person. And it's like, you're the bad person.
Let's be clear. This is wrong. This is wrong. Marchand followed a lead, upheld journalistic integrity, and peeled back the curtain to some, not all, of McAfee's success. There's no shame in this whatsoever. And as a matter of fact, Marchand would say he gets it.
I understand why McAfee does it, but it's newsworthy because it's a lot of money, and it's a center of the sports media universe almost every week.
Still, McAfee appeared to play victim at the honest and fair reporting. Then McAfee would equate what he is doing to other shows.
Okay, so what about Draymond Green with the volume? Mm-hmm. Is Colin Cowherd doing that?
Yes.
Yeah. Draymond Green's doing that for free?
It's hard to believe. I don't think so.
Maybe, though. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, there's a chance.
Respectfully, the example of Draymond is wrong because he's solo hosting his own show. McAfee would provide other examples. I believe AJ Hawk would throw out the name Josh Allen. Yes, that is true. They do host those weekly spots, but there is a big difference in being the main driver, the main host, and adding 15, 30, 45 minutes to a show. McAfee would get into patting himself on the back on how he takes care of his people, which also, to be clear, is his right, and that's a good thing. The divide, I see it, goes as follows. In one corner, you have ESPN, who many still uphold as the creme de la creme of journalistic integrity, and they demand that the network upholds this standard. In the other is the McAfees, the Stephen A's, etc. Okay. In the middle, many view is the conflict of interest in paying an athlete to come on their platform, though many in this field have stated time and time again, it's industry standard for decades. The Athletic's Richard Deitch spoke with an agent who's in the know and estimated McAfee is overtly generous with his payouts, some estimating to be between $500,000 and $1.5 million annually. What some may view as hypocritical is when McAfee told Marchand the news of this deal. He said, quote, I don't talk about the business side of it all, the actual numbers and such. There have been other critiques of how ESPN has handled all of this. Not long ago, during the height of the pandemic, wrote Karan J. Phillips, ESPN asked its top talent to take a 15% pay cut. Some of the company's top execs took a hit of 20 to 30%, as the cuts were to prevent furloughs for other employees. ESPN made round after round after round of layoffs. Some of those names include Jordan Cornette, Jeff Van Gundy, Max Kellerman, Jalen Rose, Ashley Brewer, Neil Everett, though his deal was purposely not renewed at a much lower rate, Keyshawn Johnson, Todd McShay, Susie Colbert, LaFonso Ellis, June Lee, Jason Fitz, Nick Friedel, David Pollock, and more. Then the McAfee deal came in. He left a 4-year, $120 million deal with FanDuel to sign with ESPN for less money, though it's still a large one. 5 years, $85 million. Phillips would write, the timing of it was odd at best and insensitive at worst. And now some of the same employees who took a pay cut on the chin for the sake of the coworkers are watching their company allow McAfee to keep bringing Rodgers on. It's a joke about the very thing that caused them to lose money. Some, including original ESPN SportsCenter host Keith Olbermann, had a different tune when discussing all of this. This isn't difficult, and it isn't nuanced. You can't pay some active athletes and not others and still claim to be doing journalism. ESPN has to terminate its relationship with Pat McAfee immediately. The entirety of its 44 years of credibility is at stake. Awful announcing also brings up a good question. Does he still pay his guests out of pocket? Did ESPN absorb those payments? And are athletes and coaches the only ones getting paid? If McAfee is paying reporters to join his show, that presents another Pandora's box for ESPN with regard to exclusivity, access, and contracts for his show and others. Lastly, from PFT, this news also should provide a clear answer to those who from time to time criticize McAfee for not going after Rodgers more aggressively on issues such as vaccines or related hot-button issues. Rodgers isn't a normal interview. He's a key part of the overall production. He's a paid cast member of the show.